Hello and welcome to a video for hybrid mix techniques in which I demonstrate Pro Tools trim automation, trim mode and automation in Pro Tools, specifically my workflow when I'm mixing for automation, because I use a combination of breakpoint automation, touch, and trim together. Okay, so automation is obviously an essential part of the mixing process, but I don't start with automation. I start with getting EQs and panning and levels. And as my mix progresses, I eventually get to a point where I'm like, hey, certain parts of the song are loud, certain parts of the song are quiet. And I don't necessarily want to dive into touch mode and start writing each word. I just want to get broad stroke section automation. And I use breakpoint auto for this. You can see here I'm looking at the volume. This is the master fader here for this comp for the lead vocal here. And I want to turn certain sections up or down. You can see this one line here, this one word here. It's very loud compared to the other two. And I want to turn that down. So I'll do this here without macros. I'll go to the grabber tool and I will make a couple dots here of automation. And I will then go to the trim tool and I'll turn the automation for that word down. I'm holding the command key down here and I'm moving it down by tenths of a dB until it's down by 2 dB. And I can use macros to do this instead. I can be like, boop, boop, boop. Let's turn this earlier section up by a dB because maybe there's some guitars playing. And this last section, the guitars have turned out, and I want to fade it down, so I bring it down by dB. And I'm just using macros to move through the grabber tool, the selection tool, and the trimmer tool to kind of create this breakpoint automation. You can just experiment with it and get fast at that yourself. So I will create this for most tracks in the mix. You know, some things like drums don't really need it, but the vocal certainly needs it. Maybe some of the guitars will need sections turned up and down. And then as the mix develops, eventually I get to the point where I'm ready for hardcore automation. I'm ready to do vocal rides. Most engineers I know, they ride vocals. They turn up the good words, they turn down the bad words, they turn up the breast or down the breast depending on the emotional artistry of the, depending on what they're trying to do, right? So I will dive in and want to ride the vocal. And I do this with a fader pack, I do this with a control surface, but let's do it here with a virtual fader. And I will pop here, boop, there's my fader for this lead vocal track. And let's do it in touch mode. Touch mode is the easiest way to automate in Pro Tools. We'll go into touch. And now let's automate some of these words here, Turn some words down, turn some words up, and then we can just ride here with swell. And let's bring it down a little, and let's go up a little bit on the end of the line, keep riding. Okay, that's good, let go. And so I've touched the vocal, and I've made some automation. Great, it's there, it will play back, no problem. Here is the issue with touch mode. Touch mode erases previously written automation. So the moves I had made earlier in breakpoint, let me undo what I just did. This particular move, up, down, back up, is gone and been replaced by this new move. And I've lost, this word is no longer being turned down by 2 dB. And this is a drag because I just wasted my time. So this is the downside to touch automation, is it erases. A slicker way to do this is to keep it in touch. So when you touch things, it will write, but also turn on trim. And what trim does is any automation you create is added or subtracted to the existing automation. It trims the existing automation. It's called trim mode. So check this out. I go in, I do some rides, maybe I just do little words, turn this up a little bit, oh yeah, I do the swell, okay, this one needs a swell too, yeah, all good, and then stop. And you can see that the existing kind of general automation that I had before, where it was turned down for this word, remained. And I just added rides on top of that existing automation. And this is definitely my preferred way to do automation. And I think it is for a lot of mix engineers because you can, cycle a line and be like, okay, get that word, do it again, get that word, okay, cool. And kind of work through and build your whole automation of your song one line at a time. And every time you touch it, it doesn't erase, it just adds to it and you can kind of get it finessed until it's perfect. So anyway, this is a quick video, unrehearsed, but it does show you a kind of a cool workflow of breakpoint automation plus touch trim. Use touch trim, folks. This is the slick way of doing it. I know there are other awesome automation modes, but this is the way I do it. And therefore, it's the best. Woohoo! Have a great day. Hope this helps. Bye-bye.